Welcome to the Creative Warriors Podcast, the heart and soul of photography. I'm Ariel, Faith, your host. Welcome back to Creative Warriors Podcast, and we have Kim with us today. We're going to talk a little bit more. This is our last week with her, so she's going to share a little bit more about a mindful eye and a mindful heart and what that means to her, slowing down, being mindful. That means a lot of different things to different photographers, different artists. So I'm curious to hear what Kim has to say. So welcome back, Kim. And
Thank you.
How would you explain being mindful when you create art or work on your art and photography? What does it mean to you to be mindful?
I think that not just jumping into anything, like it takes me a while. If I say I'm starting a painting, I don't just, it's not easy to just jump into something. I do a lot of research. I'll, like if I'm painting leaves, I'll research, I'll print things out, you know, really look at how things are formed and
The shapes and textures.
the shapes and different like organic feels of to objects. And it takes a long time to set up a painting, so it's to getting to that point to actually putting paint on the paper on the canvas takes a lot of mindfulness before I get to that point.
Okay.
So it's not always the best time because nobody really wants to be so mindful. You just want to get in there and start painting.
Just start throwing paint on the canvas.
But it takes a lot of, thought.
Okay. What about when you're doing photography work, which a lot of people think it's just a matter of, clicking the shutter, which, we know isn't the case. But what do you think how do you bring that into a photo shoot or into a walk through the park and you're just out enjoying the beauty? So how do you take those into those realms of your artwork?
I think that when I go to the park, I have like a mission, basically. I know what I was already there for, and I already saw and came and conquered that. So when I go, I already have it in my mind of what I need to and want to shoot. And so I'll take my time and walk around and get the right lighting and, you know, make sure that all those things line up, and I'm not just rushing through it. That's
Okay.
why I go alone. Because I don't like to rush anything. If I'm doing it, I take my time, and I am very mindful of what I do. If I go with somebody else, sometimes I just kind of lollygag around because I can't really concentrate unless I'm alone.
Yeah, I understand that. I think there's a lot of us that are similar. Like you go with unless you're going with other photographers, because I don't care if you spend 20 minutes with a flower, right?
Mm-hmm.
I may not want to spend 20 minutes with that flower, but I don't care if you do. Whereas, if
Right,
your
yeah.
family's going and you're sitting there
Mhm.
taking up 20 minutes with the flower, they're going to start to you'll feel that energy,
Yeah, right.
like the irritation, the can we move? And the next
Mhm.
shot was going to be the one, right? Before
Yeah,
all that
yeah,
stuff interfered with.
yeah, I know. So, yeah, I just like to take my time, and I do like being alone because that I find it's very peaceful for me to be there alone. My friend is like, "Well, how do you go to the park alone? Aren't you afraid?" Like, I don't really think about that.
Yeah, you got your plan. You know what you'll do if you have to.
Right.
Whatever it is, it's not going to be pretty.
I know.
Not going down easy, buddy.
Yeah, this camera bag is pretty heavy.
Yeah. It will be
It
used as a
whacked the
weapon if I
wall.
have to break it.
Yeah, right.
You will not like it. So how do you navigate from, you were talking about professors, this is a few shows back, but you talked about the fact that you worked with a lot of realistic photographers, I mean, painters in
Right.
your schooling. And when you're doing realistic work, particularly with painting, I mean, every bit of proportion can make that look real or fake. You off just a little bit and it
Mhm.
can just obviously if you're using oils or something you can just obviously go back and layer it. But when you're dealing with photography where you have less control over imperfections, I mean, obviously there's Photoshop and we can do things to add and subtract light and things like that. But when you are dealing with the art of it rather than the precision of it, how does that work for you from there's the technically correct ways, or have you kind of given up the technical and you just produce what makes your creative heart happy?
I I think I think I do what makes me happy. It's my art. I mean, it's all subjective, so I think I wanna be looked at like I'm following some kinda guidelines where, I know what I'm doing, and I also want it to be fun. So, I think that I'm not too worried about what other people think because 9 times out of 10, when I go to the park, I'm coming out with a good 6 to 8 images. It seems like every time I go, I'm getting something,
Yeah, even
that
if
I'm
it was
happy with, that I'm
yeah,
happy with.
yeah, yeah.
And I keep saying I need some place else to shoot, but it always seems like I'm always finding something, whether I'm doing a different perspective of the same thing or,
Yeah, during COVID,
times a day.
there was a group of photographers that during COVID, they did some challenges because, that was a weird time for all of us, right? And it was how different can you shoot in your backyard? How many different things just in your own yard? You can't,
Yeah.
you can't leave your yard, but and we did this whole, there's a group that did like weekly challenges and it was so cool to see how people could create beauty out of whatever's sitting in their backyard. Even some of the ugly stuff, you could make it
Mm,
look pretty if you
that's interesting,
presented
yeah.
it in a different way. So it was a fun exercise and it got you to totally think outside of what we think landscape looks like, what we think a beautiful, photo is. You could allow yourself to get a little more emotional in it
Mhm.
because you were confined or constrained by those limits.
Yeah,
So
right.
do you ever have is there any practice you have to kind of like constrain yourself with limits, or do you not have you not explored that world yet? Where you say, "Okay, I'm only gonna take this lens," or
Yeah, I do. I do limit my lenses because if I wanna carry my backpack, then I can only take 3 lenses. So, I like, recently, I've been taking, my 100 macro,
Mhm.
70 to 200, which is always in my bag, and then my 35. But it changes if I go for portraits,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
then I ditch the 35, I'll put 24 to 70 in there. So yeah, definitely I'll set it up where I know what I'm gonna shoot with, and
Have you ever used any of the creative lenses or the creative filters?
Behind the lens, crafting tales and news.
Bring your marketing, your brand to life with storytelling and strategy. Cut through the noise with clear messaging and compelling visuals that resonate with your ideal client. We bring strategy, story, and visuals to help you with your marketing. Visit arieljoyfaith.com and schedule a consultation and see how we can help you bring your brand to life.
Selfies here, just genuine sight. Authenticity in every light.
You know, there's a whole series of, and some vintage lenses that have creative. They have bokeh that you can't get in some.
Oh, like a lens baby or something.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have a lens baby.
No.
Lens, but I do have many lenses. I have a lens that I've never used, and it's tilt shift, so I've never used that yet. And then I have a 1 to 400 that I've never used yet.
1 to 400?
100 to 400.
Oh, 100 to 400.
Sorry.
Okay. I was like, they make a 1 to 400.
No. And then
Never heard that.
I have not used that yet. But I do have many, many filters that I have not even explored yet.
There's a series that I keep getting. I must have stayed too long on Instagram looking at it, but because it keeps showing up. But they're filters you put on the front of your camera, and they have crystals and starburst cuts.
Oh,
turn them around, and they look like they would be fun.
Yeah, I don't think I have any of those.
I have the crystals you can stick in front of the lens to create different, framing techniques where there's rainbows so, and those are fun. They distort the image and stuff. Those are fun to play with, but I love to play with those at the beach because you need a lot of light for those to be dramatic, so it's fun to sit there when you're dealing with strong light. They're a fun thing to play with versus the pretty soft light.
I'd like to get a lens ball. What do you call it? A crystal lens ball? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Someone was shooting next to me with one of those the other day, and I was like, oh, what do you got there?
The circle?
Yeah.
I think I bought one. It's sitting in my storage unit.
I'm sure, you won't use it.
It's one of those things that it was fun to play with, but then it was, it became, it was like novel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still fun to play with. I might pull it out every once in a while, but a lot of those get that way. So what would you say is your favorite? I know when you talk about nature, you light up, but in terms of the business of photography, if you could only stick to one, I have the feeling you're a little like me, you like lots of things. So you kind of like being in more than one bucket, right?
Yeah.
What one would drive your heart the most? Because I saw you were doing wildlife, cute little squirrels.
Yeah, I now that I have that bigger lens, I could do some more wildlife. But I think that if I could just stick to landscapes and flowers and that's kind of my favorite thing. I like to set a scene. Like I like all the elements in it. Like I like to show a house or a building, and then there's like the little gate, and there's the trees, and like I like composing what the scene will look like.
Which is harder to do in nature because you're not going to move a building if it's not in a great spot. You just have to move.
Right. The parks here have a lot of that. A lot of different historical areas with little shacks and park, buildings and little gates and bridges. And so I like to set the scene.
Okay.
I like to do that. I tend to shoot, back a lot. I don't always shoot very close up. I like to have the whole like 35 millimeter
feel
15 look, like the wide
lens
look.
Do you get to explore much outside of your local area, or is that something you haven't done a whole lot of?
I haven't done a whole lot of it. I've taken my camera to Sedona once, and I have where else did I go? I didn't take my camera with me. I went to Bahamas and I didn't take the camera. I took my camera to Florida once, but I went into some nature preserve where I took kind of some cool pictures, but I found that in Florida, it's either a sunset or it's palm trees, and there's not much that I would go back and take my camera for. You may feel different about that.
Well,
Since I live there, but where I
Florida
was,
definitely
I
doesn't
felt
have grand landscapes. I mean, there are some you can find, but
right.
you gotta get on a boat to see them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You have
right.
to There
Yeah,
are old areas that look like the old Florida with the cypress trees and the moss
right.
and the
Yeah.
sun comes through. So I
Oh,
mean, there
yeah,
are
that's nice.
things, but they're not like just in every neighborhood. There, you got to kind of find those.
Yeah.
So
But this is the year for travel for me
yeah,
because it's my 60th year. I'm turning 60.
good for you.
And so I am planning, I'm going to Maine with my niece in June, the beginning of June. I might take my camera on that, but I'm also planning a couple other trips. I have another trip that I'm going on in the end of September, I think. It's I'm doing the Oregon coast
Oh,
with my
nice,
niece.
nice.
Yeah. So I have all these different destination points down. So either we're going to start in Napa and we're going to work our way up, or we're going to start in Portland and work my way down.
Cool.
And so that is something I'm really looking forward to. It's just,
Yeah, the East Coast has got so many different things versus the South, the East Coast here.
yeah,
So it's just fun to kind of see a whole different world that exists.
yeah. And then I'm looking to go on another trip with another friend of mine, but I don't know where that's going to be yet. So it's going to be a traveling year.
Good for you. Good for you. I have traveling years, and then I have years I need to control myself and stay home and work, and then I have traveling years. Have you ever done a conference with other photographers? Like what Susan,
Uh,
she
yeah,
take people
I
and
know.
have
I
you ever done
have I haven't. I keep wanting to do the unique photo show, and every year it falls on the weekends when I'm working at the Vreeland store for Christmas. But I think they
that?
do it twice a year, and then I don't remember when the second time is, but it just seems like I never get in. Like it's just I'm always busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to do it.
It's an interesting way to, especially if you're a nature photographer, it's an interesting way to, because you're not by yourself, which is different, but you are with other photographers and you're exploring some place but you have somebody who knows the area. So they're taking you to cool places, right? You get to shoot what
Right.
you
Yeah.
want along the way, but it's a fun way that a lot of photographers just kind of, some do it just like all the time, like literally all the time. And it's
Hmm.
just because they want to, the others go to learn and improve, and others they just want to go on the excursion of it, the
Right.
adventure of
Right.
it, with a bunch of
Hmm.
people who won't care if they're sitting there taking a picture of
Yeah.
a pond, but there's some really cool scum on top, or some
Yeah.
neat
Yeah. I mean,
Saturday thing.
I was supposed to go with to Susan's to Maine to
Acadia.
Arcadia, yes, and not this past fall, the year before, and it just didn't work out.
Didn't work.
Yeah,
I was in Maine when she was there 2 years ago.
Mhm.
Not on hers. I was on another photographer,
Oh,
but I tried to connect with her and it didn't succeed, but that's okay. It was weird. Timing was real weird there and parking was horrible. I can't,
oh,
yeah, it's very cool though. Is that where you're gonna go in Maine?
no.
No.
My birth father lives in Maine, but he's west.
Oh, okay.
And
Well, that's
so we're
beautiful too.
flying into Portland, Maine,
Okay.
and driving to him, and then only staying for 3 days, and flying back.
Cool. Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah, I've never been there. I mean, I've been to
Yeah.
Maine, but not where he lives.
Yeah, different sights to see, different tree lines, different
Yeah.
light speckles, the way the sun comes through the leaves.
Mhm.
All
Yeah, I
kinds of
think I'm
neat
going to
stuff.
bring my camera. I don't wanna
Yeah,
regret not bringing it.
yeah. I sometimes when I'm traveling for the fun of it, I won't necessarily want to bring it because then I have to worry about it.
I know.
But if I'm just I mean, phones are good for just kind of documenting type stuff. The cameras on
Mhm.
phones now have gotten so good that it's my travel camera and I don't have to, I mean, it sticks in my pocket. I don't have to worry about it. But the other one, obviously, you got lenses and which lens and all that other
Yeah.
stuff. So it's a little more complicated. But then when I
Mhm.
don't bring it, I wish I would have brought it. And then when I do bring it, I hardly use it. So it's like,
I know.
this is
I
crazy.
know.
So I just go on photography adventures specifically with that in mind.
Yeah.
And then of course the gear comes with me. Well, it was a pleasure meeting you, pleasure learning about you.
It
And
was so nice meeting you.
and I have to say it's really interesting to talk to somebody who's done. I know a lot of photographers who get into art because they realize that there's just a fun to actually creating it with the good old fashioned papers and pens and media,
Mhm.
right? Different oils or whatever. And it also helps them see things artistically that they might not have seen. It's a way of improving your artistic vision because you are now choosing where to put the highlights, choosing, you're not responding to what is, you're making those choices.
Right.
So it's interesting to see your path and your journey and how you have just hung into the creative juice of your heritage and you're doing well and making a living at it, which is incredibly good. That's not always an easy task, but you have to be very
Right.
talented. So I
Mhm.
look forward to seeing the rest of your work and see you keep going.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you having me on here.
No problem. And thank you for all your insight and all your inspiration and your good ideas.
Mhm.
And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep the conversation going. Stay curious and have a happy artistic journey. Thank you for listening to the Creative Warriors Podcast, the female heart and soul of photography. See you next episode.